Most of the evidence out there shows that weight loss is actually not good for our health. In fact, if you want to pretty much guarantee that you're going to be heavier 5 years from now, the best thing that you can do is go on a diet, because that's
What's up guys, Derek, moreplace.com. Today we're going to be talking about the GP who calls herself the fat doctor is branded a disgrace as she claims dieting is not good for you. I'm putting up quotes because that's what is in the title. The word obesity should be banned and that you can be overweight and healthy. Dr. Natasha Larmie, who calls herself the fat doctor, debated Steve Miller today, clashed after Natasha claimed going on a diet can almost guarantee weight gain. Miller branded the GP disgraceful after accusing him of quoting false statistics. Viewers disagreed with Doctor, arguing it's not always a bad thing to lose weight. Daily Mail has this big article. It's basically just a transcript interpretation of the thing. And Natasha basically says if you're white, male, able-bodied, cisgender, and heterosexual, that's all that matters if you're going to gain weight or not. Which, like, what the fuck? And they have this video, which is basically like a highlight reel of like the most intense part, I guess. But the main thing is, like, the full video is on YouTube, so I'm gonna react to it there. So here we are. The fat doctor clashes with weight loss guru on This Morning. So let's get into it.
Now then, after a university professor suggested children needed more overweight heroes like rotund schoolboy Billy Bunter, we are asking if children really do need larger fictional characters to...
Was that supposed to be an image of something? Maybe I'm missing the point of what this is, because it's fucking censored.
Asking if children really do need larger fictional characters to look up to.
Well, we're joined now by Dr. Natasha Larmie, who labels herself as the fat doctor and believes there should be more diverse characters taught in schools, alongside weight loss guru Steve Miller. And welcome to you both. Thank you for joining us here today. So Professor Graham Davis, he said that children should be taught in schools about the larger children's fictional characters because children need fat heroes. He said that leading characters in modern children's literature, such as boy wizard Harry Potter and teenage spy Alex Rider, tend to be overly successful. It's interesting, Natasha, because when you sort of look back to that character in particular, there was a lot of fat shaming around that character. He was called Fat Owl, Fat Head. But despite all of this, you believe that things like this should be on the curriculum.
I think one of the first heroes I ever learned of was pretty fucking fat. It was Captain Underpants, pretty sick comic book series from elementary school, if I recall correctly.
Absolutely, because I think what we'll be able to do is open up a conversation about weight stigma and about fat shaming. I truly believe that children need as diverse a range of characters in books and to look up to as possible. And weight stigma is something that affects us from childhood and carries on all the way through our lives. It affects all sorts of things. Our wages, people who are overweight tend to have a lower wage, they tend to have fewer career opportunities, they have poorer access to healthcare. So, the kind of things that you experience when you're a child can carry you through for the rest of your life. So I think it's a fantastic thing to not only have, a kind of a larger character for children to look up to and to read about at school, but also to start talking about body diversity and how it's so important for people to realise that everybody is a good body.
So with that in mind, Natasha, would this character be attempting to lose weight, or would everyone be accepting the fact that they were a larger character and it really didn't matter about future health issues?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting topic, isn't it? This idea that weight loss is a good thing. Actually, most of the evidence out there shows that weight loss is actually not good for our health. In fact, if you want to pretty much guarantee...
So obviously, At this point, I bet Steve, the weight loss guru guy, is probably fucking fuming.
That you're going to be heavier 5 years from now, the best thing that you can do is go on a diet, because that's actually the greatest predictor of weight gain, is going on a diet. The weight loss industry is going to try and convince you that I'm wrong, because they don't want to acknowledge the fact that actually most people, when they go on a diet, actually end up gaining weight over 5 years. So in the first year, absolutely, you can lose weight, but within 5 years, you tend to gain it back again. And that's how the weight loss industry operates.
So she's basically saying that data implies that the majority of people have poor willpower and are not going to adhere to their diet model that sustains their weight loss. So you should just give up because most other people can't do it. It's like, what the fuck kind of logic is that, dude? Like, obviously there are individuals who can adhere to it, and just because somebody else has poor willpower and is willing to let their bodies go to shit again and get unhealthy, how is that indicative in any way of what you should be doing whatsoever?
That's where they make their money, because you lose weight and then you gain it back, and then you have to go to another weight loss program.
Well, I think you've lit the blue touch paper as far as Steve is concerned. All right, Steve, you've heard what Natasha has to say. It sounds like there's no point trying to lose weight anyway, because it won't happen.
Well, there's a couple of things, right? So the first one with characters and heroes of any size, shape, colour, creed, nationality, gender, whatever. Of course, it's important to celebrate diversity. I agree with that. What I'm not in favour of is to glorify obesity to children as a normal way of being.
Dude, could you have a more fake laugh? Like, holy fuck.
Now, because that is obviously dangerous. What I'm kind of concerned about, and I'm sort of kind of confused, is we have a doctor that's telling the nation today that actually you don't need to lose weight.
Dude, Jesus. Look at her face, man. Like, she's inside. She's like, fuck this guy. But she's like, yeah. Like, dude, just show how you feel, dude.
And you can be healthy. Now, that really concerns me because of all the obvious things that we know. Being too fat.
I don't know why that like really bothers me when people are pretending to be, they're in total disagreement, but they're like, yeah.
Obese leads to. We also know in the current situation that obesity, I've got the figures actually, where are they? I've got the figures. Obesity, if you get COVID, you are much more likely to be hospitalized if you are obese, and you are much more likely to die if you're on a ventilator in hospital.
I don't think she's stopped laughing and smiling this entire time he's been talking.
With COVID. And it's all right you nodding your head there, doctor. And it's interesting you call yourself the fat doctor. I just can't understand. It's like you're promoting fat. It's like the fat acceptance army. I mean, maybe it's me being a bit slow, but you're going to have to explain to me why you feel it's actually a good thing to be fat.
Well, and Natasha, I think you should answer that. I mean, you've actually gone further to say that opinions like Steve are discriminating.
Absolutely. I think there's lots of things we have to understand here. First of all, health is not just physical. Okay, health it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. And the second thing that we have to appreciate is that health is a privilege that you're born into.
Yeah, all this shit matters, but I mean, like, are you going to spiritual meditate your way to fucking insulin sensitivity? Like, no, you're not, dude.
It is not an achievement from losing weight by diet and exercise. And I'm sorry, I just have to explain that. So basically, what all of the evidence shows is that when you're born into an affluent home, when you're born white, when you're born male, when you're born able-bodied, when you're born cisgender or heterosexual, all of those things mean that you are more privileged and your health will automatically be better, irrespective of your weight.
Dude, that's like saying, oh, did you know that African Americans typically have more muscle mass, and that's why on metabolic panels for your blood work, that's why their GFRs are adjusted accordingly, because they have more muscle mass than white people. So therefore, if you're white, you shouldn't even try gaining muscle, because why the fuck would you? Like, what kind of fucking logic does this chick have?
And that's unfortunately difficult for people like Steve, because of course, Steve likes to blame the individual and say that weight loss is something that we can do. But we actually have all the data to show that it's not something. We've also got the data to show.
Don't both talk at the same time, because it's even harder when we're on calls like this, because you cut each other out. So let's say, Steve, your turn for the moment.
I think what I'm actually saying is that I think it is incredibly important to inspire and to enthuse our nation to live their life non-obese. What you're saying today is we should glorify it. Let's celebrate being fat. You know, I mean, if I came to you as a doctor, I reckon I'd walk out with a prescription that actually read, you know, say to yourself and sing to yourself, if you're happy and you're fat, clap your hands every day.
Natasha, I mean, you have already on social media, and this is part of a movement actually to do this, which is to censor the word obesity. And within the word obesity, you put an asterisk there, so you don't actually write the word. Why have you decided?
I can just imagine how many of you guys hate this fucking chick. The way she's just laughing and nodding her head for 5 minutes straight.
Decided to do that?
Well, because what Steve is accusing me of is actually absolutely correct. I look at the evidence, and it makes it very clear that you cannot tell whether a person is healthy just by weighing them and measuring their body mass index. There are lots of studies that show. In fact, there's one study that showed that
you can certainly infer and, you know, speculate that there's a higher likelihood of many different things that are likely subpar, health-wise, metabolic parameter-wise. So, where's she pulling this fucking info from?
50% of people with a BMI of over 25 are actually healthy, and 30% of people who have got a BMI under 25 are not healthy. And so actually what I do when I'm at work is I never call people obese, because I know how triggering that word is. I know that obesity, that word, has contributed to a lot of weight stigma, and what that's done is so dangerous in the medical profession. My colleagues are not giving obese patients the same treatment that they're giving to their thin patients.
So I don't think I really need to explain, you know, the rebuttal to her points. Like, if 50% of people with a BMI over 25 are healthy, does that just mean that maybe they're genetically able to tolerate higher levels of stress and higher levels of different kind of factors that are going to ultimately lead to deleterious outcomes down the line? It's like saying, you know, there's guys who can handle 100 milligrams of Anadrol for like months on end somehow, and then there's the next guy who has a Tylenol and somehow he has like liver failure. Everyone's genetically different, and it doesn't mean that just because some people can tolerate shit a certain way, that you should just let yourself go to the total polar opposite side of the unhealthy spectrum and be as suboptimal as possible and just fucking eat Cheetos all day.
And also,
However, Natasha, Steve says being obese is the second largest killer to cancer.
that's not true at all. That's absolute nonsense. I've got the evidence to prove that is absolutely untrue. He's just quoting false
Come out with
statistics.
that. You can't be putting that message out as a doctor. And also,
you
can
need
I
to
say
look
this? Can I say, no, you let me speak for a minute. The latest study from Harvard, if you want to go down the research and study route, has made it absolutely clear that you cannot be fat and healthy. And it is a disgrace, in my opinion, for any doctor to be shouting to the nation this morning, well, do you know what? If you're a bit poor, or if you're, I don't know, whatever, you're always going to be fat anyway. And actually, it doesn't really matter, because you can be fat and really healthy.
It's really difficult, isn't it, for the individual, whether it be a child that's being introduced to this in the curriculum or an adult who's sitting watching this now, to know what is the right thing when you hear two people with such opposing views there. So what does someone do?
So what I'll say is that I don't have the time to explain all of the science here. If you come and actually look on my website, www.fatdoctor.co.uk, or come and follow me on social media, you'll see that I quote plenty of studies. I give lots of evidence-based medicine. I am willing to stake my career on the fact that I believe that we need to stop telling people to lose weight. I absolutely believe that we should be encouraging people to nourish themselves and to exercise, but not to lose weight.
To a heart attack. You're telling the nation that if they're obese, don't worry about it, even though we know that most people, if you're obese, you're much more at risk of dying of COVID if you get it. And you're saying to the nation today, as a GP, then,
I'm not sure
don't
you
worry
two
about
are ever going to agree on this point, and we probably could discuss it till the end of the show. But listen, thank you both for being here this morning.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. So comments expectedly are turned off. Like to dislike ratio is pretty bad. And she's probably getting assaulted on her social media right now. So I don't think, do they plug her socials on here? No? Okay. So I think the answer is pretty obvious, and I'm surprised that she would take this aggressive of a stance. Like, it's one thing to say, I think that it's possible to lead a relatively healthy lifestyle as somebody who's overweight and, try and approach it from a more like hybrid angle, but which I don't agree with, by the way, but still, she's just like straight up, yeah, you should just fucking not even try because, the chances are very high you're gonna fail. So fuck it, just don't even bother. Just stay fat or get fat. Who cares? Doesn't matter. So I'm pretty much in full agreement with Steve here, obviously, and I'm shocked that this is, well, actually, I'm not shocked, with the way things have been going now. You see on like the billboards, you see on like the magazine covers and shit. Half the time, I think it's just people trying to get a crazy like viral reaction, and they don't even actually believe in the message. They'll put somebody who's like morbidly obese on the cover of something, and then, they don't care if you even think, are they like, body accepting, diverse accepting, blah, 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 or are they just trying to evoke a crazy reaction and bring more attention to their brand by making it seem like, oh, we're like open-minded and we're so open to diversity and these people should not be shamed and blah, blah, blah. Or in reality, they're just trying to incite some fucking crazy response on Twitter, on YouTube, on whatever. And then people are making response videos like I am right fucking now. So I don't know if that's maybe her goal, is to have such like a polar aggressive, stance that it makes a following, like a cult following for her. And she gets, more attention from it. Because she's certainly going to get more attention from this than she is from just like, I think the risks of being overweight are like slightly overstated and blah, blah, blah. So this stance is definitely going to get her attention, and who knows if that's what it is or if that's what she actually believes, but I do know that her approach to interviews is not going to win her as many followers, I think, as she believes, because who's going to like relate and feel like, oh, I like this chick a lot, when she's just sitting there like fake fucking laughing and smiling through the entire thing in complete disagreement with Steve. Like, just sit there and fucking listen, compile your response, say it professionally, and don't just sit there with the biggest smirk, the biggest fake smirk on your face for the whole fucking thing. It's just, I don't know. For some reason that bothered me. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. Follow me on Instagram at @moreplates_more_dates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic, it's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. I recommended a lab tests and diagnostics for staying healthy and assessing your health status and anything else I am associated with. It's all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.